so you're ready? Let's get started then with all of you here. Okay, so the last time we actually talked about the idea of a short circuit is when we have a cell, right? And we connect the terminals of the cell with wires that have no resistance. And if that happens, right, we will find out that a very large current will travel through the wire, which tends to cause things to overheat, like the wire will melt or the other circuit component that is connected inside a short circuit, we have a very large current going through it. So that's not good, right? One of the classic examples was Note 7, which actually exploded. So why does it explode? Well, because the terminals within the battery short circuited. There was a shortcut for the circuit, and the current going through is very large, heating up the battery components, and that's what caused the explosion anyway. Right? So that was quite a common thing. What do we do to prevent short circuits? Now, it's actually not very good to have short circuits because having a very large current is unsafe, number one, and it can damage sensitive components. So we typically use a device called a fuse, and a fuse is simply a circuit component that we put in series with the components that we have in the circuit other than the fuse. And within it, there's a special type of wire that melts when the current is too large. So basically, it has a very low tolerance of current, higher than what's required to run your device, but lower than a very large value, so that you can protect the circuit. So what happens when the current gets too large is it will break. And when it breaks, a current can no longer flow in your circuit. So that's a few. That's just mopping up what we didn't talk about the last time during lecture. Alright? Okay, welcome. Very. Okay, so for you people that came today, what you get to do today is the potentiometer. So anyone in H1, you don't need to attend this part because this is the difficult, complicated part that we need to only. Alright? Okay? No lah. These are all my good students. Right? Okay, so I'll be doing this section, which is more complex than the entire DC circuit put together. Now, before we even get started, right, I'm just going to give you all some tips about this section. The potentiometer is a simple circuit that can get very complicated in my examples. So for today's lecture, right, each of these examples is just a way that you can use the potentiometer. But I recommend that you listen today, try to reason it out and understand what I'm saying. And at the end of the lecture, maybe after the promos, before you all start discussion and tutorial, you can try the work examples that are given to you all in the lecture notes again. So take out a piece of paper to try it yourself, and of course keep referring back. But once you understand it now, right, it's a lot easier than trying to do it yourself. Okay, so today just listen and reason it out in your mind. I'm going to make a lot of logical arguments for you all, with you all, and I will need you all to pay attention and think about it and see whether you're convinced by these arguments or not. Alright? Now, having said that, there's actually nothing much that's new in the potentiometer circuit. All the equations that we use, right, are equations you have seen before. So it always starts out like that. It looks deceptively easy, but it gets more and more complicated, especially the circuits in this case. Alright, so that's just the tip I have for you all. So let's get started. Okay, a potentiometer. What's a potentiometer? Well, it has meter in the word and it has potential in front. So it's something to do with measuring potential differences, like a voltmeter, if you will. So a potentiometer is a device that typically helps us measure potential differences. That's all. So why is it useful? I'll show you in a couple of instances how we can use it to magically know things that is actually quite hard for us to measure as human beings. Right? So without further ado, this is the potentiometer circuit. Looks quite easy, right? What does it have? Number one, there's connecting wires that connects a EMF source. So this EMF source, we call it the driving EMF. That's a name we call it. Alright, it can be, you can take any number of AA batteries or AAA batteries and put them in series and you can get a driving cell. Alright, and what the driving cell will be connected to is it will simply be connected to a piece of resistance wire. So this is not a normal piece of wire. It's not made of copper. A normal wire is made of copper and we assume it to have zero or negligible resistance. That's why we can connect the fan to your power socket, and the power socket inside has cables that connect it to the generators, and those are very far away, right? We assume them to have very little resistance, so they don't waste a lot of energy. But But a resistance wire wants to do the opposite. We want the resistance wire to have resistance. So it's going to be made out of materials like nickel, where it has resistance. Okay? Now we may or may not want to connect a resistor here. Alright, at the end of the lecture, I will talk about something, and you might want to remember that I can or cannot don't connect a resistor in addition to the resistance wire. Okay? So when you see for the first few examples, you can just ignore it. Right. One of the very basic use of this potentiometer circuit, okay, which is just a resistance wire, right? Nothing very difficult, right? You can use this, right, to measure an unknown PV source. That's right. Oh my god, right? This looks like ridiculously simple, right? So the trick behind a potentiometer is basically applying this, which we will now call the main loop. Now it's a main loop because it's a loop number 1, and a current can flow within this loop. You agree with me, right? It's just nothing but connecting a resistance wire to a battery, that's all. So of course the current can flow through it, and I want to call the current that flows through it I. So such a loop we'll call the main loop, and this will be the same for every example that we use in the potentiometer circuit. Right? So this is the potentiometer. Right? Now, let's say I have an external source of PV. Now, I draw it like this with two terminals, 1 plus, 1 minus, right? And these two terminals, right, what's between them, I don't know. Remember in the last lecture, I said that I could always set aside a certain number of circuit components, and I can just call all of them something with a PVV. So of course, if there's a potential difference here with plus and minus on this side, I must have some kind of cell within that components that are between the terminals. But I don't actually need to know what it is. All I need to know is that there's a potential difference, and the positive terminal is on the left side rather than the right side. So it could be something as simple as just one cell, but it could be a cell in combination with resistances and so on and so forth. Okay, but what I need to know is just that it provides a PVV across the two terminals. So I'm connecting to my circuit like that. So I'm going to describe a bit more about what I'm connecting it to. On one side, I have a lead that connects it to point A, the front of the resistance via point A. And at the back, right, I have a wire that is like almost completed, but not really. So I'll put a galvanometer there. Do you remember what's galvanometer? Do you remember? Yeah, it measures current. So a galvanometer is like ammeter. For all intents and purposes, you can think of it as a very sensitive ammeter. Alright? But unlike a normal ammeter, it can detect very small currents, so like milliamps. And it not only can detect the current, it can deflect left and right. When I say deflect, it's actually some kind of needle, and the needle can move left or move right, right? To show the direction the current is going through the galvanometer. Now, we don't need to know too much about the galvanometer, other than the fact that we want this galvanometer in the circuit, right, to get zero current. Okay, I'll explain a little bit more. Now, when we have zero current inside this galvanometer, there's a name for it. I call it null deflection. It's just a very nice way of saying there's no deflection. Okay, so the term null deflection means no deflection. Now, after I connect the PV to a galvanometer, I'll take the galvanometer and draw an arrow and point it to the resistance wire. So it's not an arrow, it's actually another circuit component. Okay, that's called a jockey. Okay, like the guy sitting on the horse that hits the ball, that is a jockey. Alright, what the jockey does is a jockey is something like a screw tip. That means it's connected to a wire, and then the screw tip, right, is something that I can attach to the resistance wire. So you see that I'm actually completing my circuit when I attach my jockey to the resistance wire, because current could flow from A through this PV into the galvanometer and into the jockey back into the resistance wire again. So it's sort of like in parallel with the main loop now. Now, what's special about the jockey is it's just that I can change its position along the resistance wire. Because the resistance wire is a wire, I can connect it to different parts of the resistance wire by sliding it along. So I can change its position. That's what the jockey does. So I'm going to skip explaining why I'm going to do this, and just show you the results of if I do this first. And then later you can come and ask me why. Okay? What I'm going to skip is, I'm going to tell you that after I connect it this way, right, in parallel, right, I'm going to slide my jockey along this wire until I reach a position where the galvanometer doesn't deflect or has a null deflection. Okay, basically this means that there's no current going through the galvanometer. Which also means that there's no current going through the jockey and no current going through this wire through the PD and in this part of the loop as well. The whole loop has zero current going through it. Let's see if the galvanometer has zero current. I'll justify how I can do that later. Alright? Now, if I'm able to find such a position, right, is called the balance point. Okay, so the position in which I can slide my jockey along the resistance wire where suddenly the galvanometer has the null deflection is called the balance point. So that's an important term you need to write down. Alright? And the length of the resistance wire that allows me to get the balance point is known as the balance length. So that's the third term. So there's three important terms you need to learn from this diagram. Null deflection, which means the galvanometer has no deflection, which means no current goes through it. And when that happens, the jockey is said to be at the balance point. And when the jockey is at the balance point, from point A to the balance point, that length x is called the balance length. So when I say balance length, you know what I'm talking about. It's a case where I have a length x on the resistance wire that my jockey has slided through that gives me the null deflection. So these three terms are related to one another. Okay? Null deflection, balance point, and balance length. Alright, now I'm going to write down some equations that is very easy to derive. So you might be deceived on how come it's so easy to use a potentiometer. But trust me, it gets more difficult as the lecture goes on. So let's ignore the branch loop for now and look at the resistance wire. Okay, if you look at the resistance wire, a current I flows out from the battery, goes through the resistance wire and flows back into the battery. So that's easy, right? Now, if I want to consider the potential difference across the resistance wire, I can use my equation V equals to IR to break it up. I can say the potential difference across the entire resistance wire VAB is nothing but the current flowing through it times the resistance of the resistance wire, right? That's all, using V equals to IR. So I'm applying this equation onto the resistance wire. But at the same time, in secondary school, we learned that resistance is equal to resistivity times the length of the resistor divided by the cross-sectional area. You're familiar with that? The concept of resistivity? No? Forgot already. Basically, every material has a property called resistivity, which is represented by this quantity rho, that tells us how resistive the material is. And of course, the longer the material, the more the resistance, and the larger the cross-sectional area, the lower the resistance. So that's something we learned before, right? So I'm merely substituting R as rho L over A. And in this case, the length of the resistance wire is Y. And the cross-sectional area of the resistance wire is A. So if you look at this again, right? This rho is a constant. The cross-sectional area is a constant. The current going through it is fixed. And this length Y is the length of the resistance wire. Okay, so I have an expression for VAB. Okay, that's the first step of all my equations. I always need to find this equation for the whole resistance wire. So far so good? Are you all convinced? Okay, not too hard. Right, next step, I'm going to consider the portion of the resistance wire that makes up the balance length. Now, if the current in the galvanometer is 0, that means I've achieved the null deflection, no current goes through the branch loop at all, right? I can say that the current inside this section of the branch loop is 0, which means that any current that flows out of the battery, right, will definitely go through the length x in the main loop. Which means to say, if I consider just the resistance of the portion of resistance wire x, I can write down an expression for the potential difference VAC, where C is the balance point. Okay, and it's not the entire length AB, but rather AC, which is a smaller length than AB. So the same equation applies again. For VAC, it's just I times the resistance of the resistance wire here. But the resistance wire now I'm considering a shorter length. So the shorter length is now x instead of y. So it's the same equation, but I'm just considering it for a portion of the resistance wire. Okay, so far so good. So now I have two equations. This x is again the balance length. Now if you notice, right, this piece of resistance wire that has the potential difference across it VAC, that's also the potential difference of the PD here VAC. Okay, why is it the case? Well, they are in parallel. And I can justify that if I can find the balance point here, these two PDs are the same. Here I'll justify it after I derive the result. So let's say the potential difference here is VAC, the same as the potential difference between point A and point C on the resistance wire. Then I can divide the first equation by the second equation that we got in the last page and get this expression here. This PD, which I didn't know earlier, is somehow related to the PD of the entire resistance wire by a ratio of the length x over y, which is very good and interesting, right? Because at first I have a PD, and if you use your fingers, right, and your eyes, right, there's no way you're going to measure PD, right? It's very practically difficult to measure PD with nothing to measure it with. So because human beings, because we invent inventions to do the measurements of PD. So let's say I'm able to know my PD across A and B. One way to do it is remove this resistor. The PD across A and B is just an EMF. This means that I can actually measure an unknown PD just by measuring the length x and the length y, which we can do easily. You take a ruler, measure x, you take a ruler, measure y, and then you can get this unknown PD. Right? So that's quite amazing, right? We use the problem of measuring voltages to a problem of measuring length. So that's the purpose of a potentiometer. Okay, that's all. No lah. I wish, I also wish. But that's basically the principle of how a potentiometer works. We're going to use this clever circuit, right, to just basically use measuring of lengths to derive other quantities in circuits. You all appreciate that? Now I still owe you an explanation. What is it? How come current can be zero? Right? Okay, so let's take a look at this circuit in closer detail. Again. So let's take a look at this branch loop. Now, if the current going through the galvanometer is not zero, one of the possibilities, right, is this current I coming at A will split between PDV and the resistance wire, which means that the current going through the resistance wire X, right, is smaller than the current going through the remaining portion of the resistance wire, because this current in the branch loop will combine back again at the point C and continue on in the resistance wire back into the battery. So this current I, right, will not be the same as the I that I have used in the equation for equation 1. If that's the case, right, then I can't get equation 2 to look like that, and I can't get this answer. So this explains why the current is not zero. Are y'all convinced? Like that, I say again. If the current going through the galvanometer is not zero, that means the current goes through the galvanometer. If that's the case, the current going through X is no longer the same current that I use as the current I here. And then my result here will be wrong. Because I've assumed that the current is the same in both cases. Are you convinced by this explanation? No lah. How can I use the result to explain the cause, right? I need to use something else to explain the cause because this is the result. Does it make sense? I cannot use that as my justification. So this only explains why I want the current to be zero. That doesn't explain how come the current can be zero in the first place. It's like if it's in parallel, right? Shouldn't there be current flowing through it? I mean, when we connect resistors in parallel, there are current flowing through them, right? So the trick is here. Look at the PDVAC. Okay, there's a driving potential difference in the main loop. It tries to push the current through AB, right? And in fact, right, if this were a resistor, it will try to push the current through this resistor as well. But is this a resistor? No, it's an EMF source because there's a positive and negative terminal. And it's oriented in such a way that it tries to push the current backwards. This is like a battery here, and it tries to push the current in the backward direction. Now, you think about it like a tug of war. Current wants to try to flow through A and go into the external voltage in this direction because there's a driving EMF here. So if the driving EMF wins, right, there'll be a current flowing through the branch loop in a anti-clockwise manner. So far so good? Now, if the branch loop PD is strong enough, right, it can overcome this external EMF that tries to make it flow in the anti-clockwise direction. and try to make it flow in the clockwise direction. Do you all agree? So if there's a case where the current can flow in the anti-clockwise direction and a case where the current can flow in the clockwise direction, there must be a possible case, right, where it's in the middle, where it neither flows in the anti-clockwise case nor in the clockwise case. And that condition is fulfilled when this PD is of an appropriate level with respect to the PD across the resistance wire. Or I can just change the PD of the resistance wire that is in parallel with the loop by adjusting the jockey. That's why I said at the start, I want to be able to slide the jockey along the resistance wire so that I can make this PD be a suitable number with respect to the potential difference across the main loop, such that current neither flows in the clockwise direction nor flows in the anti-clockwise direction in this branch loop. So now have I convinced you that it's possible? Right? Basically, my argument was as follows. If the branch loop PD is too small, current will flow in the anti-clockwise direction. If the branch loop PD is too strong, it will flow in the clockwise direction. Clockwise means it flows through the branch loop this way. Anti-clockwise means it flows through the branch loop the other way. Because here there's an EMF trying to force current to flow through in these two loops, right? But this external EMF is trying to push current to flow in the reverse direction. Not these two are equal, but rather this potential difference is equal to this potential difference. That's right. So, sorry, what's the name? Now we try to reason it out. He said that, since the potential difference across here can be the same as the potential difference across here if I've chosen my jockey position correctly, I can find the case where current neither flows in through A nor flows out through A. So that's actually what I mean by balance point. Right? The balance point is the point, right, where the current neither flows from A into the PD nor flow out of the PD back into A. So how do I know what the balance point is? The balance point is fulfilled when the PD VAC is actually equal to the PD VAC along the resistance wire. Alright, and once that condition is satisfied, no current will flow in the branch loop, but all the current will flow in the main loop, which means my equation will be correct, and I'll be able to derive this expression that I wanted in the first place. Okay, if this is too much for you to digest, not to worry. All you need to know for a potentiometer is two things. Number one, I need to achieve null deflection. Null deflection means no current flows in the branch loop. Okay? Now, after I achieve null deflection, another thing will become true. The potential difference across this part X of the resistance wire will be equal to the potential difference across the PD. That's all. Okay? That's all the two results that we need to solve problems with. But of course, if you really want to understand why it's like that, you need to think about my argument. Alright, go ahead and think about it. I told you this is very complex. Right, so if we agree that that is possible, right, let's consider some other applications of the potentiometer. Can I use the potentiometer to measure current? Yeah, I can. If I know the potential difference in the main loop, and I know the resistance of the resistance wire, I can use that to calculate the current again. Right? So that's possible, because I only need to apply V equals to IR. If I have two different EMF sources, and I want to compare them, all I need to do is connect them into the branch loop separately. Right? So let's say I have EMF 1 and EMF 2. The EMF in my main loop is not counted. That's a driving EMF, don't forget that. So I take one of the EMF E1, I put it into the branch loop as I did earlier, because I'm replacing the unknown PD now with my EMF E1. Note that how I orientate it. The positive terminal is facing the positive terminal of the driving voltage. Alright? Now, when I've achieved the balance point, I'll call the balance length X, and I'll write the same equation as my previous case. Right? E1 equals to VAC equals to I rho X over A. So you can ignore the I rho X A because all I'm interested in getting is the X. The rest of the things will cancel out when I divide it by the second expression. Okay, so this is for the first EMF source. Now, the second EMF source, I'm going to do it again, but because the second EMF source is of a different EMF, the balance point will be something else other than x. So let's call this new length, balance length, y. So for the first source, E1, I get I rho x over A. And for the second source, E2, I get I rho y over A. Okay, once I've done that, I can divide these two equations by each other, and all the constant stuff will cancel out, the I, the rho, and the A. What I'm left with is E1 over E2 is x over y, which is an amazing result, don't you agree? Think about it. I have this potential meter that I know nothing about. I only created it. I use an unknown driving EMF. I don't even need to know this. I use a resistive wire, which I don't even know is resistance. Okay? And then I pick up two EMFs. Let's say one of the EMF is AA battery from my pocket. So I already have an AA battery with me. I know an AA battery is 1.5 volts. Okay? And let's say my calculator is out of battery, and I found this button battery right that looks like it can fit my calculator, but I just want to be sure that it's the correct voltage. So I don't know its voltage, I want to measure it. Now I don't have anything other than my potential meter, which I know nothing about, right? I take it, I connect it to this circuit. I do some equations and I get this result. Oh, and then I still need a meter ruler to measure the balance length x and the balance length y. So it means that I need no information at all except to know that my original AA battery is 1.5 volts. That's one of the EMFs. I can use that to find the other EMF of that I picked up. So I can actually measure EMFs this way. And what were the observations I needed to do? Number one, I needed to know one of the EMFs of value. And number two, I needed a meter ruler to measure the length for me. So I reduced the problem of electricity to a problem of measuring lengths. And that's why the potentiometer is very interesting too. Right? I taken a difficult problem and reduced it to simpler forms. Now this kind of thinking is the basis of electrical engineering. So if you're interested in solving problems in as simple way as possible, then this type of discipline is important for you. You can go and pursue this in university. Alright, I'm not an electrical engineer, so I don't pretend to know a lot about them. But this is the basis of what they do. Alright, so who's uncomfortable at this point with all the equations that we are doing? If you are, please go back and slowly work through the equations yourself, yeah? The fundamental assumptions are still the same. I want to achieve the balance point, number one. And when the balance point is achieved, the potential difference across the balance length is equal to the external potential difference in the branch loop. That's all. Okay? So far we have used the potentiometer to find an unknown external potential difference. Now we have used a potentiometer to compare between two EMFs. We're still talking about PDs, yeah? Can it be used to do anything other than PDs? Yeah, it can. I can try to compare two resistors together. So earlier we were comparing two EMFs, right? Now I can compare two resistance. So I'm going to be a bit more smart and modify my external circuit, my branch loop, so to speak. So this is my main loop. It still looks the same, right? It's just a battery and a resistance wire that I know nothing about. Now my branch loop, I have another battery E1, and then I connect two resistors in series and connect them together in a loop. So now my branch loop, right, is a complete circuit. Is there current flowing inside the circuit? Yes, because it's a complete circuit. Of course, as long as this battery works, there'll be a complete circuit here. So there'll be a potential drop across R1 and a potential drop across R2. Okay, and here's how I will use my potentiometer. This is my main loop. I will take one end of my first resistor, connect it to A. I'll take the midpoint junction between the two resistors and put my jockey in it, and the galvanometer and the jockey with it, and make it touch the resistance wire. Now, of course, current could flow from the main loop to the branch loop, or flow from the branch loop to the main loop. It depends on me upon the potential differences, right? But I will use the same argument again, that there could be a place on the jockey, right, where the potential difference across X is equal to the potential difference across R, and then no current will flow between this wire and this wire. Now, when I have that, that is called the balance point. Right, I want to try to find the balance point again. So once I found the balance point, that basically is when the galvanometer gives a null deflection. So it's quite cute, right? I got three loops here, but the current neither flows from the main loop to the branch loop, nor from the branch loop to the main loop. There's this extra loop here that no current flows really around it. right? And I want to cleverly create this because once I've achieved the null deflection, right? This means the PD across R1 is the PD across X. And I can measure the PD across X easily, right? I just measure its length first. So let's take a look at what I will do next. I'll do the same thing again for the other resistor. I'll take its left terminal connected to the A, take its right terminal and find the balance point, and I'll get another balance length Y. So you can see what I'm going to try to do here, right? I'm going to somehow find the ratio of their resistance to be a ratio of measured length. So for the first resistor, in the first case, I can just write down this equation. The potential difference across that first resistor is the current flowing through it times its resistance, V equals to IR, right? That must be equal to the potential difference of the balance length, X. So it's nothing but I rho X over A, the same expression we used in the earlier two examples. Now I'll do this for the second resistor, but the second resistor's current is still I1 because the two resistors are in series. So they have the same current. But the balance length is now Y because it's a different resistance. And of course then we will have a different PD across it. So you know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take one, divide by the other, and get this beautiful ratio. The ratio of their resistance is a ratio of the balance length. Isn't that amazing? Right? I'm going to tell you another story again. First, I happen to have a 1 ohm resistor in my pocket. And then, right, I somehow create this potentiometer circuit that I don't know what's the driving EMF and I don't know the resistance of the resistance wire. And then I walk along the street and then I see this circuit component. And I just want to check, right, that this circuit component resistance is not too large. So I pick it up and I want to measure its resistance. I can't measure its resistance because I don't have a multimeter with me. What can I do? Well, I can use my potentiometer with another unknown EMF, probably the one I picked up earlier, right? And then connect them together with my 1 ohm resistor that I happen to have in my pocket. And so, once I found the two balance lengths, as long as I can know one resistor's resistance, I will know the other resistor's resistance, even though I know nothing about my potentiometer circuit or the other EMF that I picked up on the street. And that's okay. I can still cleverly use the information that I arranged them into two circuits to find the new resistance. That's quite amazing, right? How come I can do such things? Human ingenuity. Right? So this is a very clever way of doing unknown stuff. So why is this important for us to learn? Well, before we invent a multimeter, we must first know how to calibrate the multimeter, right? This is how we do things. We need to think of ways to use existing tools like rulers to measure quantities which we don't have immediate access to. Just like how the first thermometer was invented. Right, you want to measure temperature, but using your screen to touch a hot object is not a very reliable way. So we need to think about how expansion is related to temperature. So in this case, we are interested in how the balance lengths can be related to their resistances instead. Okay, so this compares two resistors together. So we have done unknown EMF, two EMFs, two resistors. Pretty good progress for one lecture so far, right? We still got a couple more to do before we can call it a day. So let's move on to them. Right, I hope you all are getting more and more comfortable with the potentiometer circuit because it's actually not that bad after all. So now I'm going to start with my potentiometer and I'm going to use to investigate cells. Now, even a dry cell like AA battery and AAA battery or the battery that you use in your handphone, right? They all aren't perfect, unideal. The correct word is ideal, they're not ideal in the sense that they always have an internal resistance. Now, let's say I pick up EMF source on the floor, right? And I want to know what's the internal resistance of that EMF source. I could of course put a multimeter around it to go and find the terminal voltage and check the labeled voltage, but that's cheating, right? I don't always have a multimeter with me. But I could easily create a potentiometer circuit to do that measurement. So how I draw an external cell, okay, with internal resistance is always using a dotted line like this. Cell internal resistance as a resistor in series with I knew EMF E1. Okay, so this EMF E1 is as if there is no internal resistance, and then it's connected in series to its own internal resistance as part of the circuit. Now I take this cell, right, and I put it in my branch loop like this. Now, when my galvanometer reflects the null deflection, is there a current flowing through the galvanometer? No. Is there a current flowing through the battery? The cell that I connected in the branch loop there? No current. So, there's no current flowing through this resistor as well. Right? Now, if you remember your lessons from the first two lectures, if there's no current going through a resistor, does it have a potential drop as it passes through the resistor? Right? We did the light bulb example, remember? Whenever there's no current flowing through a circuit component, there's no potential drop across it. So this means the PD across this resistor is zero. It doesn't consume any of the PD of this resistor, of this EMF source, so to speak, when I connect it this way. So this means, right, that the EMF is equal to the potential difference across AC, which is I rho X over A again. So are you all convinced? I don't have to subtract anything away here because there's no PD drop across the internal resistance. So there's internal resistance, but there's no current going through it. So there's no potential drop across it. So I don't need to minus away a term on the left-hand side. Because normally, otherwise, we'll need to say the PD of this plus the PD of this gives me the entire PD if there were a current going through. But since there's no current going through, there's no PD across the internal resistance, I don't have to take it into account. It's as if it wasn't even there in the first place. But if I know that this is the case for this scenario, I can of course create another scenario where, tada, there is a current flowing through the battery, which means I create another branch loop in this case. So the main loop is still the same, it's always the same, it's the potentiometer. But now I connect a known resistor in parallel with my cell. Now if you look at this branch loop, loop Q, this square here, is there current flowing? Yeah, there is now, right? Because this cell is in series with this resistor, is in series with this resistor, and it's connected back to the back of the cell. Aha! But I don't put my galvanometer inside, I put it outside. So I can still connect this loop Q, right, to my main loop. I'll connect the left side to A, and the right side to a galvanometer and jockey to the resistance wire. And then I'll do the same thing again. I'll slide my jockey along the resistance wire until, aha, null deflection. So once I'm at my null deflection, it means there's a current in the branch loop, a current in the main loop, but there's no current flowing between the branch loop and the main loop again. Just like the resistor case. Let's stop abusing this. Now, if you look at this scenario, right, there is now a current flowing through the battery. So there is a potential difference between the internal resistor. It will take up some of the potential difference, so to speak. Right, because got a potential difference across it. So the potential difference between this terminal and this terminal is no longer the EMF E1. It will be the EMF minus away the PD associated with R. But since that's in parallel with the resistor, it will also be the potential difference across the resistor. And if it's in the balance point, it will also be the potential difference across Y, the balance length. So all these three potential differences are equal to one another. So all we need to do now is just write them down in the equation. So VFG, okay, is just equal to the ratio of this resistance to the total resistance in this loop divided times the EMF. This one is just using the potential divider principle. It's saying that when I have two resistors in series, right, the potential difference across one of the resistor is a fraction of the total potential difference because it's that ratio is the ratio of this resistor over the total resistance. Remember we did this before? That means when we have two resistors in series, if we apply a PD across them, the PD is somehow split among them. How is it split? It's split by the ratio of the resistances. So we can derive this equation first as an expression to find VFG. Okay, this side is okay, right? Are you all okay? Not sure, you can clarify now. Anyone not sure? How we derive this equation? Okay. Okay, you must know this because the next step doesn't involve this already. The next step is, I'm going to say that VFG is the same as VAC because they are parallel and into the balance length. So of course, this expression is equal to this expression, but this expression is nothing but the expression for the balance length again, I rho Y over A. Right? Which means I can simplify my first case, my second case, and put them together. So in the first case, don't forget, I was just connecting the battery to the main loop without any extra branch loop. So in that case, there was no EMF drop. The EMF is just E1 equals to I rho X over A. In the second case, I have an external resistor, and the expression changes and it looks a little bit more complicated, but it's no longer E1. Because it's no longer E1, it has a new balance length Y lah. Okay? So that's why these two equations look different. This is for the first case, this is for the second case where I have an additional branch root. So once I divide one by the other, right, I can pull out the resistor R, that's the extra resistor I connected in parallel to the battery. So if I said earlier on, if I know this resistance, I can find the internal resistance, right? Am I right? Yeah. Now I need to be able to measure the two balance lines. And if I know my external resistance, I can find my internal resistance. So it sounds like a very, very roundabout way to measure internal resistance. But it's quite difficult to measure internal resistance if you think about it. Right? You pick up any battery, how do you measure its internal resistance? You need a separate circuit, and this is the separate circuit to measure it. Okay? Alright, this is the complicated part, right? You're all dying. Go back and read through this derivation again, right? After your purpose, yeah. Okay, we only have one more example to go through, and then we'll attempt to do a work example together. How about that? Okay, so the last one is a little bit relevant to something you've learned before. Okay, the last application of the potentiometer is to measure very tiny EMFs. So what is an example of a very tiny EMF that we would want to measure? Well, this is called a thermocouple. Heard of it? Isn't this the correct answer to every secondary school question about thermometers? What is the best type of thermometer to measure this? Mercury in glass, alcohol in glass, bimetallic strip. Thermocouple always the answer, right? Because it's very sensitive. It can measure small temperature changes. The tip that you use to do the measurement is very small, so it's very precise. You can measure something that has different variations in thermometer everywhere. It has to be at different parts. Right? How does it actually work? Well, today we're going to explore it. A thermocouple basically is a junction, two junctions created using two different wires. So for example, I could make this to be copper and this to be iron. Alright, so if I have two wires of different materials, right? This is copper, iron. Then when I connect them together and put them in a junction where there's a temperature difference from the other junction, a current will flow between them. That is the basis of how a thermocouple works. So if a current will flow between them, the only reason why a current can flow between them is that there must have been a PD between them in the first place. So this acts as an external PD. So if it's an external PD, and I want to find this PD, all I need to do is connect it to my potentiometer, like the very first example, right, where I was finding an unknown PD. Then I will have solved my problem. But it's not that simple. Why is it not that simple? This PD is very, very weak. If not, you put two metal, touch something, and you get electric shock, doesn't make sense, right? It's actually a very, very weak PD. Right? Weak enough that the difference matters to measurement, but it's very hard to detect. Now, look at this potentiometer circuit. This is a regular main loop now. How much voltage do you think the driving potential difference is? The driving EMF is? If I use an AA battery, about 1.5 volts. Okay? If this is 1.5 volts and I don't have this thing here, right? This resistance wire, right, will be on the potential difference across its two ends will be 1.5 volts, right? Now, if my thermocouple's PD is like millivolt, 1 millivolt, that's 1/1000 of a volt. Then I find the balance length, right? It will be very, 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 very close to A, right? In fact, it will be 1/1000 of the length of the resistance wire. So let's say I take a resistance wire 1 meter. 1/1000 of 1 meter is that 1 millimeter. So let's say my thermocouple measures 1 millivolt. Then the balance length will be 1 millimeter. That's very close to the uncertainty of my ruler, right? That sucks. Right? It's not good that my measurement is as big as my uncertainty, which means I'm not very sure about my measurement. Okay, if you're going to be a future electrical engineer, you need to be able to answer this question. How shall I modify my circuit such that the measurement is not so small? That means I want to be able to make my balance length on the order of at least centimeters so that it's not so screw up. No, okay, so use a vernier caliper is a very direct thinking. I just measure smaller and smaller distances. But it's very hard to measure vernier caliper with this, right? How are you going to put your claws and claws are metal and conduct electricity? Okay, let's talk through. Our vernier caliper right? So you're going to be an electrical engineer in the future. You can increase the value of the external resistor, which remember at the start I told you all can ignore. This is where it will be useful. You dump a high resistance resistor here compared to this resistance wire, right? What will be the effect? This EMF is divided among this resistor and this resistance wire. So if this resistance wire is very small resistance compared to the resistor you put in series with it, most of the EMF here will be across this resistor. Which means maybe I can take 1 volt here and make only 0.1 volt be across the resistance wire. If the whole resistance wire represents 0.1 volt, then 1 millivolt on it is 1 cm. Now 1 cm is much better measurement than 1 millimeter, right? 10 times more precise. Accurate. Go back and study that one again. So that's good. So this is how I can modify my circuit to make it more sensitive in this case. This is a term called sensitivity. When my measurement is larger, gets larger and larger in value so that I make less errors in it. That's called sensitivity. So once I know that, then the problem is as simple. I put a large resistor here. Okay. The EMF voltage is VAC. And the voltage across my resistance wire is VAB. This is exactly the same equation that we derived in the first example. How to measure an unknown EMF. So if I know my potential difference of the resistance wire, means I need some information about it. I need to know its resistance at least. And the EMF sources resistance. And the other resistor I put in series with it. Then I can simply find the thermocouple's voltage using the ratio of the balance length to the total length of the resistance wire. So that's very, very useful, right? So of course, if I know those two resistances, I can just put it into this equation. And so this is just using V equals to IR to reduce the equation. You don't need to write this, but I think it's inside your notes. I printed everything out for your class, it's quite difficult. All you need to do is go and digest it again and write it out again yourself as you derive it. So it's beautiful, right? You can now use a thermocouple without having it be too difficult to measure. Because it's actually just a very small voltage. So we can then use a sensitive instrument now by cleverly modifying our circuit. Of course, I didn't invent any of this. This is just things that human beings have accumulated over the years of investigation. So be proud of our human race. We've done so much with very, very little. Okay, are you all burnt out by now? Okay, very strong, right? This is quite a complicated topic after all, right? I want you all to start. But you all feel better about it. If you feel better about it, let's go through one example and then we call it a day. Okay, so far those are just applications, right? This is a work example. This is how a question could be like in the A-levels, for example. Right? So I'll give you all a minute to digest this. We'll go through the 4 parts of this question and then you all can go home, okay? No, it will take you a few minutes. Relax. Don't be so stressed. I don't need you all to come up with the answer. I need you all to digest the question already. That means understand which part of the circuit is the main loop, which part of the circuit is a branch loop, and then figure out what the question wants. Then we can attempt the answer together. Okay, so this circuit doesn't look so scary after we know a little bit more about potentiometers, right? There is a main loop here, that's the battery plus the resistance wire AB. And then there's a branch loop here, which has 2 resistors in series almost, because I haven't closed the circuit yet. and it could be series somehow if I close my switches. And there's another external cell in the branch loop. So the branch loop is connected to the main loop at the usual points at A and using a jockey, where the jockey's position is C. So the first question says, what will be the balance length if I close both switches? So as we typically expect, the question says that the resistance wire is 100 cm. So it's usually the case that it's usually set to be a meter. But of course, depending on your situation, you don't have to use a meter of resistance wire. You use as long as you want. But they're just solving circuit diagrams. Right? So in this question, it is 1 meter. Okay? And when I close the circuit, this looks like our comparing resistance example, right? We have 2 resistors, but only the first resistor is in parallel with the main loop. And if I find the balance point, this means the balance length will be in parallel and having the same potential difference as the first resistor. So basically it's asking you what's the potential difference of the first resistor. Right? So for loop P, the main loop, we can say that the potential difference VAC as a ratio of the total potential difference across the resistance wire, there's no other resistor here, it's just this length AC over the entire length of the resistance wire AB. That's just a potential divider integral. That's okay? Alright, then we look at loop. Okay, then let's make VAC the subject and plug in the various quantities, and then this will be equation 1. Alright? So for equation 2, we're going to look at loop S, the branch loop. So for loop S, right, the potential difference across this resistor, okay, is just the resistance of this resistor divided by the total resistance times the EMF, because we're dividing the EMF resistance over these 2 resistors. So this is again applying the potential divider equation for the 2 resistors. Okay? Now, putting the 2 together, I will get the balance length across. So the balance length is 60 cm. Okay? As easy as that. So for the first question, there's 60 cm as the balance length. Alright? Now, in the second question, it's slightly modified. It says, oh, I open the loop now, right? The switch. So my switch is no longer my 80 ohm resistor is no longer connected to the loop. Now what happens? Let's take a look at what happens to the remaining branch loop. Is there a current flowing in the branch loop now? Let's trace the path that the current can take from the battery. I take the battery's path, come out. I try to go through the 80 ohm resistor. Aha, but it's an open switch. So this is not part of the circuit. So this is not connected. It's not a short circuit. Short circuit is when I have 2 wires connected to just the battery. But it's not a short circuit, there's no current in fact flowing through here. So if I want to check whether there's current flowing in this loop, the bigger loop now Q, I need to trace the circuit. Okay, this part is connected to A. That's okay. Let's look at the tail of the battery. The tail of the battery goes through the 20 ohm resistor. It's connected to the galvanometer and then the jockey, which means that if I get a null deflection at the balance point, then there's no current going through the 20 ohm resistor, and there's no current going through the 1.5 volt EMF as well. Right? This means this whole new loop has no current in it. If there's no current in it, is there a potential drop across the 20 ohm resistor? No, because any resistor that doesn't have a current going through it doesn't have a potential drop. So I can write my equation easily now. VAC is equal to LAC over the total length times EMF. That's the first equation that I derived earlier in the last case as well. Just looking at the main loop. Then for my extra sub-branch loop, the potential difference across AC is just nothing but the potential difference that's within the branch loop, which is just nothing but the 1.5 volt EMF source. Okay, and then I just put these 2 together to get the new balance length to be 75 cm. So even before I solve this, right, I would have known that the answer would be larger than the part A answer. Because now I don't need to take into account one of the resistors. So all I need to do is to take into account the EMF source, which of course was used to power both resistors earlier. So definitely the answer for this case will be larger. Okay, pretty chill, right? Now the next part is the part that makes you think. So this is actually quite okay, just a direct application of the potentiometer to calculate balance length. Typical A-level questions will be like this. So not too bad. Right? The calculation parts are easy. It's a thinking question that always stumps us, right? So for this question, the thinking question says that, oh, now right, for my circuit, I have internal resistance in my battery and in the branch loop. So how does this affect my answers in part A1 and part A2? So we simply imagine that there's one more resistor here in series with this loop. Right? So, if the potential difference across AC is the same as the potential difference across the resistor, now the change, will it increase or decrease the potential difference across this resistor? That's what we need to find out. So yes, if we have an extra resistor here, now this 1.5 volt needs to be split across 1, 2, 3 resistors instead of 2 resistors. So there's less PD across each resistor now, which means that the balance length must decrease. So that's the answer for A1. That's why the answer must decrease, because now I have more resistors to split the PD over. Each resistor's PD will decrease. So of course the balance length decreases accordingly. The balance length is always proportional to the PD that's applied across it. That's so far so good. Okay, then we can tackle the second case. If there's a resistor here, A, but in the second case there's no current flowing through my branch loop at all. So it doesn't matter whether I have a resistor here or 10 resistors here, there's no potential drop across any of them. The potential difference across the branch loop is still 1.5 volts because no current flows through the resistors. So we can ignore the resistors and the answer will be the same for the part 2 answer, which means it will be just nothing but the potential difference is proportional to the 1.5 volts, which is 75 cm. Okay? Now, if you are very fast, right, you can see that even without looking at this, right, you know that the answer will be 75 cm because 1.5 volts over 2 volts is just 3/4. So 3/4 of the length of the resistance wire is just 75 cm. So that's as simple as what a potentiometer circuit does. It just tries to convert potential difference to a ratio of potential difference to a ratio of lengths. That's the basic principle of how a potentiometer circuit works. So you cannot figure out how to derive all the different equations. You just need to recap to remember these two things. For a potentiometer circuit, right, we'll connect it such that there is a null deflection, and when that condition is achieved, the potential difference across the resistance wire that is the balance length is equal to the potential difference across the branch loop. That is all. That's all the potentiometer circuit requires you to solve any question. Actually, it's not that bad after all. Excuse me. Alright, so we come to the end of this lecture, this topic. Okay, it's not that bad, right?